I immediately want to apologize at how loud that intro was. I just saw the meters and it was like full on. I'll turn it down for next week. Sorry, y'all. Hi, I'm Andrew Huckrattle. Who's this?
I'm Nick Longo.
And
what is up, everybody?
It looks a little bit different today because that's right. It is a season premiere. Nick, it's been a long time since we had a season premiere.
I don't recognize my surroundings here. I haven't seen this border in quite a long time.
It's wild. So we are starting a new season here on Office Hours that is back to school. We'll be here for the next 3 weeks. And when I say here, Nick, where is here? Because we're actually in a new location.
We're in Adobe Live's channel.
We are. So if you haven't subscribed yet, everybody right now, go and click on, let's see, if you hover over our video, you can click on the title of the video and go subscribe to Adobe Live. This is a new channel. It's the new home of Adobe Office Hours. We will only exclusively be streaming to this channel. So if you're watching this on Behance, if you're watching this live, we will no longer be on the Creative Cloud YouTube. Make sure you go and subscribe so you can get your updates here. All right, Nick.
Big deal.
What is our disclaimer that we give at the beginning of every episode to everyone that's watching?
That this is our
Control right.
Oh, you're talking about that one.
That one.
Control right if you want to skip past everything we're talking about. But I don't think you want to miss it because we got a lot of fun stuff to talk about.
It's true.
For sure.
It's true. We have a lot of stuff to talk about, but this show, we are helping you go back to school. We do have some announcements, some things to talk about here at the beginning of the episode, but you can hit Control right if you want to skip forward. And if you're listening to this and have it on in the background, you're cooking dinner or you need to do laundry, go do it. Go do it right now. Leave this on in the background. This is going to be more of an audio kind of lecture-based talk. We're just going to give you a lot of advice and insights. We've been doing a lot of product demo that you need to see. Today, you don't necessarily need to see this episode. So listen to it while you're driving or just turn it on in the background. We don't care. You don't have to see our faces. Just listen to our beautiful voices. Exactly. Also, on that note, vibe check. Here's some vibes. We haven't had music on a while either. All right, Nick.
Perfect.
Do we have anything else that we need to talk about that I think
you had mentioned we had a few little announcements. We've talked about Adobe Live. We're good there.
Yep.
Correct. We've talked about our 3 weeks, so 2 more weeks ahead of this.
Yep.
Which is going to be great.
Yes.
What else did we have? I think we were good.
We
talked about Discord?
Yes, I think. Oh, we didn't talk about Discord yet, and somehow our live chat is talking about pretzels. I don't know why, but if you're watching the replay on YouTube, let us know your favorite snack down in the comments. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about Discord. And Discord's actually going to be really important today. Go ahead and join our Discord right there. Join at discord.gg/ACC. And it looks like we have some homework in here, but what I want to show you is right over on the left, right above Nick's head, we have a classroom chat. This is a voice channel, and here's what I want. I want you to join the Discord, and we will be pulling people from that voice channel during our live show to ask advice, to ask if you are a student, if you're going back to the office, if you're going back to school, however you are going back into something right now, we want your advice. We want your hacks. We want what you are doing to get ready. So join the Discord, open up that voice chat, and go hang out in there. Say hi to some friends. We'll be coming back to that at the end of the show. All right, so we do have a very special guest today, but it's a secret. So we'll bring that guest on in just a bit. Let's go ahead and
might want to get out the red hotlines.
Yes, right. And we do have somebody in chat. Becca Smith is saying live voice chat. Yes, we do that every now and then here on Adobe Office Hours. If you're just joining us for the first time, give us a wave in chat. I think we have a lot of new people here. So give us a wave in chat if you're here for the first time. We also love to give away prizes here on Adobe Live. So who knows? We might throw some prizes at you during the episode. We've got some really cool swag for y'all. Let's go ahead and hop in. And again, if you want to join right over here, classroom chat is where we're hanging out in Discord. Nobody's in there yet, but hopefully there will be some people by the end of the episode.
I'd love to know in chat, is anybody back to school in any way, shape, or form? Have you gone back into working at school, a teacher at school? Are you in session with any kind of class right now? Would love to know if anybody is in that zone, because I sure am. We just finished week 2. I still can't believe it's back to school time.
It's happening.
It just happens so quickly.
It's crazy. So yeah, let us know if you are back to school or even if you're going back to the office and need some motivation to get started again. All right, Nick, let's go ahead and hop into what we have to talk about today. I need to sit up straight because I just feel really tiny today. All right, let's go ahead and hop in, and we are going to be talking today. Oh, actually, hold on. We need to do our cut back in from our friends that hit Control Right. All right, here we go. I'll take it this week. Hey.
Oh, well done. Are you sure you want to take it from here?
You can do it, Nick.
I can take it. And
do a chapter marker that just says Andrew dies. All right, Nick,
yes,
go
exactly.
ahead.
And after that, Andrew's okay. We're gonna get right back into our slides. Here we go with some back to school tips. And we put this for everybody. This could be for anyone. Oh, he's still suffering. Look at that. You're looking good. You're looking good.
All right, we did it. We're back. All right, yeah. So this
over
is
the hump. Perfect.
a little bit for everything. We're going to be talking about our hacks for going back to school, but also in offices and even in our professional careers. I've had to use a lot of my hacks this week, so we'll give you a little bit of those as well.
Yeah.
All right, Nick, let's just jump in. This is the first time lecturing in a while, so hop on in and let's chat.
Feels so weird, but yes, you're right. This is old school, classic office hours right here. Me and Andrew talking through slides, but we want to start with this one. This whole idea about keeping this idea of staying ahead alive from the very beginning. And if you do this from the very, very start of anything that you're getting into that's new or fresh or a new routine, instead of slacking off in a way, these first few weeks, you'd be catching up so much at the end. And I tell my students this all the time. The minute they drop the ball and they don't take the initiative to kind of keep up and actually get back on track and staying ahead, not just on track, but like one step, little bit ahead, it's so tough for the rest of the semester, right? I mean, it's like one of the hardest things to do. And I tell them this really because it's like, I don't think they can get the full kind of commitment or engagement of the class if they are always one step behind the teacher and the rest of the class. And I think you're just setting yourself up for failure in a bit.
Yeah,
right?
and I've been doing this in my professional career. This week I have not been using this hack, which is great. And I always try to keep the mindset, and this is kind of the thing that I like to say, is don't give up what you want for what you want now. Right. Mm-hmm. And that also goes for doing work, right? Don't give up the projects that you want or the goals that you want for what you want now, or even what you need now, right? If there's a deadline that's coming up that's like, oh, I know that I need to work toward this, but there's 9 other things that might need to get done before it. Keep working toward that long deadline and don't just kind of jump at what is on the hottest plate right now. That's been my not hack this week. I've been super behind. I didn't stay ahead and I didn't set myself up for success by starting early to get the long-term things done. And so it's literally just been putting out fires all week, which is
you kind
the
of
worst.
Think, like, because I'm in the same situation where I feel in work and in business and stuff I've been doing over the last 3 or 4 weeks, I have definitely fallen behind. But with school, because I think there's such a commitment to the class and the structure, I'm way ahead. So I was trying to think as you were talking, what makes the difference in us falling behind or automatically being a step ahead? I think it's that accountability.
Yes.
If you can be accountable to 2 or 3 other people, your design buddy, someone you work with, someone you go to school with. I know with Andrew and I too, like as we're building this stuff, if one of us slacks, it's like it starts to show, right?
Yep.
But the accountability is the key, I think, for this.
And this is a great example. And someone said, Annika said, that's life advice also. Yes, that's what we do here on Office Hours. We give you life advice. And the great example, for those of you that have been watching the show and following along, we know that I've been on this journey with Southwest Airlines. I love Southwest Airlines. I've been trying to get work with them. And I got work. We are like working on a project, which is going to be super cool. And I'll share what that is eventually. But that was like my dream project for years. And I am so behind on it because I have focused on what is most urgent and not necessarily what I want, right? It is a dream project and I have it and I can work on it and finish it, but I'm way behind because I've been distracted by other things popping up. So setting yourself up for success is trying to stay ahead and figuring out what are your long-term goals that you want to be working toward.
So how will you stay ahead now for the Southwest job? What
Nick,
could you do?
I need you to not ask that question in this moment.
I want to know. Don't we want to know, dude? This is your chance to be accountable for it.
Yes,
right?
that's true.
And you nailed it. You said you wanted this for so long, and now you have it. And we all do that. I think there's so many times we forget we are working on something or a part of something that we wanted for a long time.
Yep, absolutely. I
Right?
think that the thing that I need to do is just work in little pieces. I think there's a lot of times that we look at the finish line and we try to go for the finish line when we just need to hit like a mile marker, right? Yeah. We don't need to finish the whole thing. We just need to do something. And right now it is nothing. All right, so moving on, another big thing to do are daily routines. Kind of unpack this for us, Nick, and then I want to walk through our daily routines in our careers, and then also maybe our daily routines when we were in school or when we were educators. Also, we didn't set this up. Nick and I are both educators, so we're on the other side of knowing students and understanding students, and so we're trying to give you that perspective. But Nick, talk to us about daily routines.
Yeah, so this is that idea of trying to keep completely refreshed by the routines that you're doing each day. If something can become a routine in your schedule, it's a lot less likely that you're going to drop the ball on it or even forget about it or slack at it a little bit, right? So this whole idea of being there keeps you focused, keeps you refreshed, and you can tackle those little things. I think a lot of times all it takes is a tiny little hurdle for you to say, not today. You know, I can get that back into my routine tomorrow. But I'm a big fan of this because once I get there, the routines for me are really, really solid, and I can definitely stick with them because I think there's a sense of like, one, I like the check off of certain things, particularly in the day. But again, like if it's giving me benefit, then for sure that routine is going to stick. If it's not, maybe that's a good point to reevaluate them. What do you think?
And what's great about having these routines is you can put like open time into those routines, right? That you know that there is time for you to do things. So I used to work Sunday through Thursday, and my routine on Sunday was to go into the office and let nobody talk to me. I would literally go in, I'd put on my headphones, and my routine was I would listen to a full, you guys are gonna love this. I would listen to a full musical theater album start to finish, and that would give me at least an hour or 2 hours that I am just in the zone working straight. And so I love Broadway, I love musicals. And so I would make my way through these albums knowing that they were an hour or 2 hours. And it gave me that routine that every Sunday I knew I had 2 hours to check emails, to catch up for the week, and to get prepared. And that was kind of my routine that I just had every single Sunday. It was so helpful.
I like that it was a bit off the beaten path where if you tried to make a routine like every Tuesday night or Thursday morning, I was going to do this. But don't you think because the fact that it was a Sunday, meaning the rest of maybe your coworkers were not really checked in?
Yes.
And you had that exclusive availability and like it was just you.
Yep. And again, it's all about being intentional to what you want, right? I want to have a week that I'm not going in trying to put out fires. And so I just kind of like get my water pails ready on Sunday, like dig some trenches, and then be ready for those fires as they come. And I'm talking about fires a lot because there's fires near me. I live in Southern California. But I'm just, that's kind of what I would do. And yes, someone in our live chat, Mimi, is saying it's a gift to yourself, giving yourself those uninterrupted hours. Absolutely. Kevin's saying routines are good as long as they are good routines. Yes. My morning routine. So let's do this. Let's talk about our routines real quick. So my routine that I have now is every single morning, and I have proof right here. Every single morning, there's a Starbucks that is 2 minutes and 35 seconds away from my apartment. I timed it one day because I was curious. And I walk there every morning. And I don't take the elevator. I take the stairs. And I never take the stairs. So I take the stairs every single morning, and I walk to Starbucks. And as I'm walking to Starbucks, I'm looking at Slack. I'm looking at emails that have come up. And it gives me those 2 minutes to kind of get ready for my day without being in the office. So in theory, I have about 15, 20 minutes if I'm waiting for my drink to kind of start my day slowly and work my way in. And then once I get back to the office, I know here's what I'm doing. Here's what is on my next few hours. And I have coffee to get me started. And so that helps me like not get shocked into the day and kind of ease my way in. And then at the end of the day, well, actually at lunch, my favorite thing to do that has become my routine is to take a break and open YouTube. I open my YouTube subscriptions. I watch one YouTube video as I eat lunch, and then I go back to work.
I'm a big fan of that. That's something fun to look forward to. I know there might be a daily one of someone that you're subscribed to, and it's like a check-in in a way, and it's not a full commitment to like 30 minutes or an hour.
Yes.
I do love that a lot. I'm slacking in my routines only because of my shoulder surgery, and like I can't do a lot of the things that I was doing every morning, particularly like either going to the gym or doing something to just wake up. And so I'm dying for that. I'm figuring everything else out I can do. I'd say my best one that I love to do is before turning in and like turning the computer off at the end of the day, I make sure there's something I can do to make tomorrow morning easier, simpler, and more clear
Oh,
with my
that's
clients. And
good. That's good, Nick. That's great.
That is, let me tell you, that is your ultimate benefit, and that's a routine you keep, because when you see how much it helps you and your mornings are better, amazing.
Absolutely. So if you're watching the replay, go ahead and comment down below what your routine is. And we do have a couple answers coming in from the live chat. Nick, do you want to read Kyle's?
Yeah. I've been going on runs and they help me step away from the computer. Yes, Kyle, that's fantastic. Facing a technical issue, I think when you have any frustration, go outside immediately, walk, go to a park, sit at a bench, throw headphones on and listen to a podcast or something. Yep. You do have to make that unplug. I feel you on the technical issues, because that has been major part of this week for me too. So
my thing that is like the easiest thing to do, I get my mail. If I ever have like a stress or I'm stuck on something, I go get my mail, because it's just enough time for me to go away, but not too much time that I feel stressed about not working on it. And so I'll literally walk downstairs, get my mail, sort through the mail, come back, and then get back to work. So it's a good like 1-2 minute break, which is great to kind of redo that.
Great
idea. And Heba says, my routine is checking notifications and sometimes watching a video before starting school. Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
All right, so here's some suggestions, Nick. This is a great suggestion to kind of get started if you don't have routines already. Where can people get started?
All right, start with setting a designated time to wake up. I think there's been incredible advantages in, even if you wake up at the same time, not early, not late, it's all about the same time. So if you've designated a time that you're waking up, one, your routines will stick. Two, it's great for your whole kind of biorhythm and the fact that your body knows when you're getting up. I saw some great studies and I listened to some incredible podcasts that were talking about the advantages of this. It gets you more ready. So let's say if you wake up and an hour later you are attacking work, your brain's going to be more functional because it knows it needs that hour after you waking up. The next one here, try not to overload your day. I think that's the first sign that you're going to fail, or if you don't tick off one of those things from your list, you're going to be like, today was a failure. So by keeping it realistic and not overloading it, it's really smart.
And here's something that someone told me once that I think is just so genius is don't try to check things off of your to-do list, try to find margin. And so, right, sometimes finding that margin is not working on something. And sometimes finding that margin is working on things as fast as you can to check them off the list, right? So it's not just about completing tasks. It's about creating margin so that if something that needs to happen, you have the margin to plug it in. And so I think that's really important is don't overload your day, and your goal should be to create margin. And if you're a school, Nick, talk about the next one.
Planning time for your homework. This, you can substitute anything for homework. Whatever you need to plan time for it. I remember one time I had a student come into class and just complain that they couldn't find the time to do the homework and this and that, whatever. And right next to him, this other student goes, I have 3 jobs. I have 30-minute lunch at each, whatever. I had it on my schedule to attack my homework at those specific times because that's all I had. And I just thought that was like so smart. And I looked at the other student going like, what's your excuse? You have to plan for it. And if that means blocking time on your calendar, I remember someone telling me this and I was like, just because you have a calendar doesn't mean it has to be just an event on there. It has to be with other people. Put stuff on there that's just about you.
Oh, and then nobody can schedule stuff during that time.
Exactly. If it's the break time you need, great. If it's the hunker down and work time, great. But putting time for yourself in there is such a huge thing. And I think I see the difference, and I'm sure you've seen it too with students. You can tell when someone has put in the time for the homework, and you can tell when they've kind of, I've waited, I was the procrastinator. I wasn't the best student. And I was turning in, kind of junk stuff when it could have been a lot better.
So something that I did in my classes is I would tell my students the first day of class, your final in this class is worth 40% of your grade, and your final is to turn in anything that shows that you were paying attention and have comprehension of the terms that we talked about. That was
leave it up to them almost.
And again, it's that I want you to plan, I want you to make your structure, I want you to tell me how you learned, that was something for me that really showed me who's investing that time. So from the teacher side, we're not just looking for like the right answers, we're looking for who's investing time into that. So make sure that you are blocking that time.
That's such a great exercise because that's so much more real world. If you think about in the real world, when you're at work or doing something, no one's giving you chapters and chapters and stuff to study, and then you get a quiz. That doesn't work. What does work is, hey, Andrew, you've been to the last 4 meetings. Can you send me an update or a recap of all the points talked about?
Yep.
Right?
And
that's so true.
Yeah, and it's really
100%.
selling that you are committed to that thing, right? Same thing if you're a professional, if you're in school, it's all about selling that you are committed to that. And I'm going to talk about it in a minute, but sometimes you have to fake that. There are so many times that I'm like, yeah, I'm so excited for this. And like, I don't care. But if you fake it enough, eventually it becomes a reality. So Nick, let's keep going here. Wrong button.
Yeah.
Make a to-do list. Let's talk about to-do lists. What's kind of the stats on to-do lists?
Yeah, so here's the best point. You're going to get 42% more likeliness that you'll actually accomplish them if you write them down. And I think we've talked about this before. You might be analog and you might need Post-its and notebooks and things like that. You might be digital and you might use a lot of this stuff online for your to-do list. But just remember, start with small, writing down things for your plans each day, and you'll see how that actually, I'm a big fan of that, conquering the thing. I think the best part is my to-do list was on an envelope today. Okay.
Oh, hold on. Let's pull it. There we go.
Let's zoom in. That was my to-do list right there. So to me, it's as long as I'm writing it down and it's in my work zone, I'm a big fan of more of the writing. I can't get to the to-do list thing. There you go.
Yeah, I literally have these just on my desk. And the funny thing is that my entire desk is a whiteboard. I specifically bought a desk that is a whiteboard so that I could write on it. And I still have notebooks that I write random stuff. And literally, like, each of these pages are completely different things. It is all just imaginary stuff. Here's a project that I worked on like 3 years ago that's just sitting in here. And then I have a list of things from like a meeting this morning. It's all just kind of in there, but we need somewhere that we can make that to-do list and that we can kind of make sure that we are staying on top of stuff.
And it hits me when I go, oh my God, there's so much to do today. And if I don't make the list, where am I going to, I'm going to be just so haphazardly walking through the day. I won't be committed the way a list would do.
Yep, absolutely. So continuing on here, let's talk about bullet journals. Nick, is this, I know that you have like cool journals from what I've seen. My journals are all just ones I've gotten from conferences.
Yeah. I there's something so cool about them. Get what you like. Get something that you really dig. I don't think getting fancy ones is the best way to go because you become afraid to write in them. I think as people that are aesthetic and design and kind of creatives as we are, I like the down and dirty, just, notebook from the grocery store.
Yep.
To me, sometimes that's the best. But this bullet journal thing, if you look that up, there's a great TED Talk on this bullet journal system that works. And it's a great way to keep track of everything and measure the success you're getting from it. So it's not just the kind of like check it off. It does really kind of highlight what success you got out of that thing that you crossed off your list. So again, it's all that gratitude. At the end of the day, you're like, not only did I cross off everything from my list, but look at all the benefits I got out of it. So look that up if you're interested in checking it out.
Absolutely. And again, it doesn't have to be anything crazy. This is a great technique to look, but like literally my favorite thing to write notes on, Post-its.
Yeah.
I will burn through Post-its like nobody's business. And it's just a great way to put them wherever you need to see them. And also with whatever you need to see on them, right? And so that's just a way. I would rather have a stack of Post-its in a meeting than have a journal or any kind of notebook. I love Post-its.
Yeah, I think that goes to the whole point of the disposableness of them and the it's nothing final. It's one sheet. It's not a book.
And do what works for you. There's no right way, right? We've talked about this a bunch of times on the show. There's no right or wrong way to design or be creative. There's just different ways. And so if you have a way that you like to work, if you like to write shorthand, if you like to write on the wall, whatever, as long as you're getting to that goal, however you get there, doesn't really matter. But we have some advice for you on that. All right, so let's talk about make your space. I love this one because I'm currently sitting in an office that has nothing in it because I'm terrible at this.
It's time. That's your next to-do list and challenge. I think it's time to finish up your office there, buddy.
There's nothing. I've lived here like for a long time. All right, Nick, what is this all about?
I think you need a destination, 100%. Even if it's a corner of a room that you can set up a small desk that's comfortable and distraction-free. This idea of like, I see some of my students, like particularly when we were on Zoom and whatever, they'll be like sitting on a couch with the laptop on their lap, not the best situation to be like productive and really working, strong, I think, for me at least. But avoid sitting on a couch or a bed. Grab a comfortable chair. If you can't afford something crazy, there's all these great things that you can add, at least for some lumbar support or something good. The whole idea is you want to be comfortable and you want to be kind of away from any distractions. The best tip I can give you too is, if there's nothing at home or there's not a good spot, to go to a coffee shop, hit a library, find a spot that actually can accommodate you in those zones. But I know by making the designated spot, even if it's as messy as it is and you can't see that, and that's by design, it's still my spot. And I know when I sit here, I'm in that mind frame. Don't you get that like instant? It's like you're plugging in the same way you would plug in, your phone or whatever to charge.
Exactly.
When I'm sitting down, I feel like I'm linked into, now it's work time.
Yep. And you guys will think this is crazy, but so my apartment, I have an office and then I have my bedroom, but I'm actually getting a second office. I'm getting an office because I need to be offsite. Like, I've been going to coffee shops. And so I'm going to move into an office with other people. I want to have that collaboration. I want to have a little bit of a way to get out and kind of make my space. So as much as I love this space, which is awesome for live streaming and whatnot, I want a different space that I can work in, which this space is not great for live streaming. Obviously there's nothing here, but I will make this space for live streaming and then have a different place that I can kind of work in, collaborate in, and have a space that really feels like mine, right? It feels like a little bit of a separate place. So if you can create that space in any way, it's so important.
What you're doing is you're making two spaces, because you need to be, you're wearing two different hats in those situations.
Yes.
You're not, right? So it's like even better to give yourself a little bit more of that opportunity by having two.
Yep, absolutely.
I like that.
I love hats. All right. Let's talk about taking breaks. We've touched on this a little bit, but Nick, why do we need to take breaks?
Oh, come on, guys. I saw everybody talking about just balance and everything else here. But again, I think it prevents you from having that complete drain of creativity. I think we got it a little bit harder, where the fact that like coming up with ideas and being innovative all the time, and you might not be in the best frame of mind, but if you are not taking those kind of like consistent little breaks, then you're going to have less of that energy and less of that kind of innovation. But you're also more prone to the procrastination too, because like you haven't taken that break, or you're thinking of your break because you haven't had one.
Yep.
So it's balance. It's as simple as that.
Yep. And I think taking breaks, you need to have two things, right? You need to have it defined, and you need to have it in like a designated time, I guess. So designated and defined is you need to say, okay, I'm going to take a break at this time for this much time. And to me, that helps so that I don't end up procrastinating, right?
Yeah.
That I'm taking a lunch break. I'm like, cool, I'm going to take a break for one YouTube video. I'm going to watch a Mr. Beast video that's 15 minutes long. Great. I'm taking a 15-minute break. And so doing that is not like, okay, I need to take a break from this. And then it's like 3 hours later and you're like, I haven't done anything. So make sure that it is defined. My latest thing has been listening to the new Beyonce album, and I pick like my two favorite songs, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna listen to a couple songs, I'll grab a snack, and then I'll go back to work, right? Just define that, and also make sure that you are saying when it is and how long it is, and that way you don't end up going into procrastination, because I will just not come back to work 100%.
You know what a great idea is, and I think you nailed it with your suggestions of what is a good kind of break for you, what kind of topics. I love the idea of finding a YouTube channel that is so not your cup of tea, that's something so different that you might be a little curious about, like, like something really neat about, maybe it's cooking, or maybe it's something that's even just more of a hobby that you love and it's not your profession. But aren't those the best breaks? Because I see it pop up and I'm like, oh, I can watch that for 10 minutes and it'll give me a nice recharge.
Absolutely. Yep. And we've been talking a lot about podcasts. I just want to plug a podcast that I think is like the greatest podcast of all time. If you're a musical theater, it's called the Deeply Graphic Design Podcast.
Hey, thank you very much.
That's the right answer. Nick has a podcast if you guys want to listen to it. It's called Deeply Graphic Design, right?
Yeah, you can find it. It's all abbreviated, the DGDC, and it's on Apple and on Spotify. Thanks, man.
Sweet. Okay, that's not what I was going to say. I just remember
200 episodes of fun stuff.
Yeah, I just remember that was a thing. Okay, the podcast I want to talk about that's completely random, and that's what we do here in Office Hours. It's called Off Book, and it's basically a podcast where these two people invite a guest on, and they have like a live band. and they improv a musical live. And so
Whoa.
they'll just be like talking, and they'll be like, oh yeah, yesterday like it was crazy. I went to McDonald's and like got a Happy Meal, and like the toy was really like weird. And then the band will start playing, and they're just like, the toys, and they just like start singing, and they do a full hour with like a plot, and they do scenes. And so anytime I drive, I love to listen to it. That's completely off topic and has nothing to do with the show. It's just my favorite podcast. So we just want to share.
Can
that.
I give you my favorite YouTube?
No. Yes. Go ahead.
Rick Beato. Have you heard of this guy?
No.
He will take a famous, like real popular rock song or a pop song, and he will break it down track by track and show you what made it the most popular song or what it was.
I love
like
that.
Imagine he got famous for the Bohemian Rhapsody, and he cuts back every track, shows you the magic of behind your favorite music. It's incredible. It's something really fun to watch.
What's great about that, and we can kind of we love sharing inspiration here, and the best way to share inspiration, if you have inspiration to share with us, Nick, where can people share their inspiration?
That would be on our Discord channel.
Yes, so you can post right there in Discord. We actually had some people doing homework from last week. We will have more homework for you this week, but if you have inspiration, drop it in the Discord right now. Drop it over there and let us know what inspires you. And what I was going to say about podcasts like that is listen to things that may not be in the creative industry, right? I think we kind of focus on creative industry or whatever industry we're in. Listen to stuff that's different. Listen to stuff that's a little bit out of your comfort zone that is still inspiring, like that music thing. I think that's really cool, and I would love to listen to that breakdown, and I could definitely apply that into my creative career as well, which is really cool. All right, let's talk about socializing. Now that we're talking about Discord. Now that we're talking about Discord, let's talk about socializing.
This is number one, and we even had a conversation with faculty today on this idea of like what the last few years has meant, particularly for younger students that, you know, really missed out on the social aspects of things. And this idea that we got to remember to kind of like do this on a regular basis, do socialize outside of your circles with work, with your friends. If it's a school thing, is it something outside of your class? Is it a club or an organization or something fun to do? Sometimes this is that thing that we forget. It's probably last on the priority list a lot of times, right? Like, oh, on my to-do list, go and socialize today. Like that kind of seems like we should all be doing that. But I think you got to make a habit now more than ever to do that. These social skills and these things are what most young students right now are really thriving for. And they feel a little bit apprehensive to get in there to a room or network or do whatever. So I'm pushing. I did a thing that I've never done before in class this semester. Night one, I had them presenting. They had to do like a 5-second, 1 to 2 minute, thing about who they were. And it broke the ice so good. And all of them were like, man, I never thought I could do that in night one.
Yep.
So giving this social kind of like task is so smart. It's so smart. I still try and push myself more and more every day with this kind of stuff.
Yep.
You can't stop learning that.
Yeah. And we had someone in our live chat saying Discord is where I socialize. Yes, Discord's a great place to socialize. Again, you can join our Discord, but something we've been doing in the Adobe Discords is we've been starting to do social events. We do a lot of creative stuff here, but we've been kind of just doing fun social events. So last week we did a watch party for the new Lord of the Rings show. If anyone's there, give us a wave in chat. But if you want to join one of our Discords, we have Photoshop, Illustrator, Creative Careers, which is what ours is. You can join any of those Discords, and I think they're linked down in the video below. Mm-hmm. And there's a great place. There's people to hang out with. There is like a chill station that has music playing. It's really just a great way to get connected, and make sure we'll announce every social event that we do pretty much here on Office Hours. Just tune in and hang out, which we're on every Friday, 2:30 p.m. Pacific time.
Yes, we're here all the time.
All right. Nick is typing furiously. Let's go ahead and talk.
I'm getting it. I need to know what that channel is. Someone was talking about the building YouTube channel, all about isometric buildings and making them in AI. So yeah, I love that kind of stuff.
Oh, that's cool. I know that Jack Watson is doing some content on their Behance that is isometric buildings, and it's
we had him
really
on live.
Good, yeah.
Back in the day, yeah.
All right, so let's go ahead and do. Let's talk about stress. Pass. I'd like to pass on this slide.
I think we need to start like practicing our medicine here, man. It has been a stressful week, and I think this is probably the best thing to read now. Stepping back, taking your breath, evaluate how you feel. I think the number one thing I remember saying something is you get to control how you react to situations, right? And we're so quick to react, knee-jerk react to stress, to things like that in maybe negative ways or ways that's not really productive in getting it done. So stop for a second and just think about how you will react to it. And then on an even deeper note, there is no shame to ask for the help. If there is something you need help with, and it's best to talk to someone or whatever it might be. Thankfully, I think this is being covered a lot too. And you're seeing, it's like, I think nowadays there's just no shame in this idea of like, do I need to take it to another level?
Absolutely. And something that I like to do, here's my hack for this. We're talking about hacks. Here's my hack for managing stress is ask yourself this question. What is true up until now, right? And I think we've talked about this on the show before, but I ask myself that question and then just start laying stuff out, right? That it's like, I am sitting in my office. There are lights on. I'm live streaming. I'm talking to a camera. My microphone is working, right? And just start naming things that are true. And then eventually you'll start to get into calming down, right? If I'm stressed, then I'm like, oh my gosh, I have a million projects to do. There's no way I'm going to get this done, right? I'm like, cool. My desk is stable. I have some water. I have 3 projects, right? And start trying to manage in true facts instead of feelings. And that really helps me to calm down. And then I'm like, oh, I only have 3 things to do, not a million. And those 3 things each require about 20 minutes of my time. So I should be able to get this done in about an hour, right? So really try to break that down and say, what is true up until now? So yes, you don't get stuck in speculation and you don't get stuck in like feelings. I'm full of feelings. If you've ever seen, this is the greatest analogy ever. Have you ever seen Night Before Christmas when Oogie Boogie gets like unraveled and he's like full of bugs? Yeah. That's me, but with feelings.
I thought you were going to say, what was the other movie? Inside Out?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
That one's fantastic. All right. Tell us a little bit about faking it, bro.
This is my specialty. It really is.
I haven't mastered this yet.
It is. It's definitely like, I am so tired right now, but you put on the smile and you fake it until you make it. The second this camera goes off, I'm going to like lay on the floor and just fall asleep. But here in office hours, you guys want to be entertained. You want to have some fun. You want to have good vibes. And so you got to fake it till you make it. There are weeks that it's genuine and there's weeks that it's not. That's kind of just how it works. We keep it 100 with you here on Office Hours. So fake it. Here we go. Present with confidence and have the mindset that you want to have, even if you don't have it, right? And this can go for school presentations, but it also, again, can go for your creative careers. And I'll just use now as an example, right? That I know that I want to have the mindset that like Office Hours is super fun. We got cool vibes. We like know what we're talking about. We have all this insight that we want to give. And like, we're just having a great time all the time. But that's not necessarily the case, especially in this episode right now, but I am convincing myself of that mindset, and eventually I will have that mindset, right? And I'm presenting with confidence. I'm giving you like the real world breakdown, presenting with confidence, right? That I'm like, this is the greatest thing you've ever seen, because if I don't care about it, you won't care about it. And so if you're presenting a project, if you're working on something, turning something in, you have to pretend that it's the greatest thing that's ever happened, because if you think it sucks, then everyone else is going to think it sucks right off the bat.
That's kind of cool. I like that idea. Like, again, it's going back to like, you get to control the opinion and the how the feeling of that, whatever that might be. And you're right. If you could be like, hey, that was a success, like, and convince yourself that, and maybe you're faking it a little bit.
Yep.
I think you react the same way. Your body reacts the same way. So like less stress.
Yep.
Right.
Oh yeah. And again, it's something that if you get excited for it and you convince yourself of that, you will be more excited than you would have been without doing that, right? Even if you're so stoked to present a project and you're like, I'm so excited for this, right? You're like, I don't have to fake it. You're like, fake it that it's the greatest thing you've ever made, right? Take it to that next level, and it's always going to give you just a little bit of extra oomph, a little bit of chutzpah in your presentation. You want that little bit of extra. All right. So this is, the next slide is talking about saying yes to things. And this is good advice and bad advice. One of my best hacks is always give in to peer pressure, because you'll have a lot more friends. This is my favorite advice to give, because it's the worst advice ever. But what I mean by that is just say yes to the unknown, right? Just say yes and see what happens. This is great for going back to school. This is great for just relationships in general. This is great for your creative careers, right? Just say yes and see what happens. Some of my favorite projects have come from people emailing or reaching out and saying, hey, can you do this? And I'm like, I have no idea how to do that. But yeah, why not? Let's see what happens. Just say yes. Some of my favorite life things are just saying yes, right? This show exists because Nick and I went to a conference and we're like, want to go to lunch? And we're just like, yeah. Let's see what happens, right? And then 2.5 years later or whatever, we're still doing
making a show.
We're still making a show. So say yes to the unknown, right? You don't have to know what's going to happen. Make sure you're safe, but say yes to the unknown and just see what happens. And this can be in skills, it can be in projects, it can be in class, it can be in social events. In any way, just say yes and see what happens.
Is the backup here, or is the point with this one, because I wish I could be more like this one, right? And it's like, so are you saying like, at least just say yes? You can always say no after if it's a bad thing.
Yes, you
right?
don't have to initiate it. Just go with the flow, right? And then if you get to a point where you're like, oh, whatever I've said yes to is actually a no from me, then you're done, right? But you don't want to say no before you get started on stuff. You always want to give it a chance and see what happens.
Gotcha.
Strangers are just friends you haven't met yet. And yes, Annika says, also be safe. Yes, let's put an emphasis on that. Make sure you are safe, but
that's
also
I was gonna say, if the unknown is jumping off of a cliff, I'm gonna probably say no.
Oh yeah, one of my favorite stories. I was in Hawaii and my Uber driver from the airport, like we just started like chatting and hanging out. He's like, "Oh, I'm a pilot and I fly between the different islands and stuff." And I was like, "Dude, that's so awesome! Like planes are so cool. I love planes." And he's like, "Do you want to go see my plane and like go to the airport?" And I was like, "Yeah." And we literally spent like half a day just like touring his plane and like hanging out at the airport, and it was like the greatest thing ever because he just said yes. Which again, that is like not a good example because that probably wasn't safe, but it's great. You make great connections and meet cool people by saying yes to opportunities. All right.
I love that.
So this is one of the last things that we're going to talk about, and then I'm actually going to give our special guest a ring and bring him on.
Oh yeah, can't wait.
And do the work before you need to do the work. Right? So set up templates and structure to make your life easier. And Nick, I did this in school and I also do this in my professional career, is I would set up I would look at the things that have to be done and realize if I have to do it more than once, I'm going to assume I have to do it 1,000 times and I'm just going to make it once, right? I'm going to make a template. I'm going to set up a structure, right? Every week, I'm going to have the same form that I fill out of what I need to do. It's a super easy way to get ahead. Do you do this in your like workflow?
The minute something becomes that like part of the schedule,
I have the hiccups. I'm literally gonna explode.
Yeah, if I know I have to do it over and over again, I will give it the best model, template, whatever it is, to make sure, because once you've done one of those and you see how incredibly effective it helps your day and your schedule and just the stress, I don't have to recreate that anymore, because guess what, I have that template, boom boom boom, find the simplest way to make the quick update and it's out the door. And I've been doing that more with my lessons with school as well, where I'm building these lessons to be able to pull from the night before, the day before, and my setup now for class is very little when it used to be 3 or 4 hours. So saving a ton of time.
Absolutely. And what are the words that I wanted to say? Oh no, I brain farted. I don't know what I was gonna say here. That's what I was gonna say. Chat, let us know. Let us know if you have ways that you set things up. Let us know if you have hacks to your professional career, to your weekly life, to classes. Let us know in the live chat or in the comments down below. Or if you want to, let us know in the live chat that you want to come on the show. We'll bring you on the voice chat right now. We've got about 10 minutes left here. We do have our special guest to get to. But if you have advice that you want to share, this is a community. Office Hours is a place for everyone and for all of us to grow our creative careers together. So chat, put your advice in chat right now. Nick will be looking at that and kind of reading out some of those. And Nick, while you do that, I'm going to give a call to our special guest and see if we can bring him on.
Yeah, let's see. Hey, Barbara, looks like you're going to be working on a logo. That's fantastic. I'm a big fan of the idea of what we were just talking about, this idea of making sure you are one step ahead and building these templates, because it is saving me so much right now, even for the client reaching out and it's kind of just this like onboarding thing. I've made tons of those things to be able to send out immediately and say like, let's be crystal clear where we are, what kind of stuff, are we a good match? Makes for a really good deal. Ooh, you set a timer. That's a good one. I'm a big fan of that too. I use timer on my my iPhone all the time. Name your files so they are helpful. Daily meditation. Totally agree. That's on my list to get going. Axel, do you have any good recommendations? Because I'm looking to figure out a way to bring that in. How are we looking there, Andrew? Are we ready to bring on our
Yep, exactly. Yeah, we're
special
ready to
guest?
bring on our guest, and I will be. We have him on the phone here. We didn't bring him on the show; he's on the phone. This is our friend. Do you want to introduce yourself and kind of what you do, real quick? Special guest.
Hello, my name is Victor Davila. I'm an associate professor at the University of Central Florida, and I'm also involved with both the local AIG Orlando chapters as well as the AIG National.
Yes, cool. So Victor, educator, he is here to help everybody kind of level up their creative careers and also just learn better. And how long have you been teaching, Victor?
I believe this is my 12th year, if I'm counting right.
Oh my gosh, you've been teaching since you were 18?
Pretty much, yeah. Straight out of grade school.
All right.
Before he even graduated
What's
from
up, Nick?
college.
Yes.
What's up, man?
Nick says hi. All right, Victor, let's ask some advice from a seasoned educator. We have people that are going back to school. What advice do you have from them from an educator perspective to set them up for success?
I think the main thing would be not to just rely on what you learn in school or in the classroom to be the basis of your education. To be open to other things outside of the classroom, to connect with communities, to your outlook on design by yourself, not by yourself, but by other things other than what you learned in the classroom. Because I think what I usually tell my students is once they graduate, this is where your real education starts. So you want to make sure that you're making those connections, whether they're internships or mentorships or just overall community to help you grow as designers.
And that's such an interesting thing of like, your real school is like pretending like you're not in school. Like function as if you weren't in school so that you can be ready for graduation. And that's how you make the connections. That's like how you really succeed, is kind of functioning outside of school. I think that's great.
Yeah, and I would also add too that in the educational atmosphere, in the school atmosphere, you have so many things available to you that you might not have once you graduate, whether they're connections to faculty or whether they're connections to like a group of videos or access to things that you might not have, or just the group of communities. My first job out of college was a friend of mine who was a classmate of mine got me the job. So you want to make sure that you foster these communities, not only in the classroom, but after you graduate, after you leave.
Absolutely. That's great advice.
So smart, dude.
Nick, sorry, not Nick.
Yeah.
I'm looking at Nick, but I'm talking to Victor. Oh my gosh. Victor, today's episode is called Top 5 Class Hacks. When you were a student, what was a hack that you used to either like get ahead in classes, to kind of cut down on work, or to set yourself up for success? Can you think of a hack that you used?
I don't know if this is necessarily a hack, but I just shared this with my students recently, is that I would try to identify the student who I thought was the strongest in my classroom as far as design, or somebody who was doing really good work. And I would try to, do a little friendly competition, even if the person didn't know. And I would use that person to try to inspire me to do better. And that's what I would do in design class. And then in drawing class, what we would do is, like, at the beginning of every semester, we would all put like $5 in a jar, and the person who would spend the most time out of the classroom drawing and doing their work would earn that money. And then that person would have to buy drinks for everybody else after the semester. So it's not like we had to keep it, but it was just kind of like, really trying to push yourself in ways by identifying who's doing the strong work,
Yeah.
Like this whole sense of friendly competition. And what I would tell the students is, like, athletes, they look at the films of other teams as to what they're doing right, how they can kind of like get stronger as teams, as athletes themselves, or whatever sports they're doing. So it's, the same kind of thing, just a little friendly competition made my work stronger, I think.
Yep. And I think that that's interesting because once you get out of school, everyone's trying to eat you alive in the industry. That's kind of how it works. And so take advantage of that when you're in school, that you have friendly competition and you can level up your skills, because the second you get out, especially if you're living in LA, everyone's trying to eat you alive.
That's awesome.
All right. Well, thanks, Victor. Victor, if people want to follow you, follow along, or just reach out for advice or whatever, where can they find you?
They can follow me on Instagram at Big
Got it
Davila.
on there.
Yes.
Bicdavila. I don't post all that much, but I will answer any DMs that if you all have any questions.
Sweet. Thanks for joining us, Victor. We'll talk to you later. Bye.
Of course. Thank you, Andrew. Thank you, Nick.
Bye.
See you, bud.
All right, so there you go. That is the inside scoop from a seasoned educator about what you can do to kind of level up your career. And actually, I think that the friendly competition is so good.
It happens naturally, and I love that he was saying a student should look for it more specifically. It does happen automatically, and I think that's the coolest thing. I even mentioned it to class the other night. Like, friendly competition is a great thing, and I encouraged it. You know, it's so cool.
Yep, absolutely. All right. So that's pretty much all we have for you. We have about 5 minutes left. We want to talk about homework. That's right. If we're going back to school, Office Hours is giving you homework. Nick,
Always.
Our homework for this week, we're going to flip it on the head. Usually we assign you all homework to do, which we are going to do. But Nick, what is our first homework assignment to our audience?
Brainstorm and assign homework in Discord.
Yes, and this is not a note to Nick and I. It's not a note to ourselves. This
looks
is
like
for
a
you.
note to me, like in case I forgot it.
It's true. It's like, okay, what are we supposed to do? No, this is your homework. We want you to join the Discord, discord.gg/ACC, and we want you to assign homework to our community. So you can do that right here. We have a channel, and it is just Office Hours Homework right there. You can see that there's a lot of people posting homework and things they've been working on. I still can't get over how gorgeous these flames look.
Look at that.
But you can post your homework here, and maybe it's something, let's find a new podcast. Maybe it's establish a new daily routine and document it, right? It can be a little bit of anything, but we want you to think through, how can I help my community, right? How can I help my classmates? How can I help my team? How can I help those that I work with, right?
What a great idea. I love this idea. Share any kind of inspiration. If it's one of the YouTube channels that maybe you thought of that as we were talking about it, that'd be great.
Oh yeah, let's all post inspiration in the homework as well. I also love that I stopped talking as if I had a segue, and then like there was just no segue, and I was like, oh, Nick's not talking. And I'm like, I didn't set him up for anything.
It wasn't. I was like, did he get cut out? I was like, what happened?
I just forgot how words worked. All right, so make sure that you are doing that homework in our Discord. And the second homework that we want you to do actually leads into next week's episode. And Nick, when can people watch if they want to watch next week's episode?
If you want to watch, it's at 2:30 p.m. Pacific time every Friday. And we're going to have 2 more weeks of our back to school.
Yes, we have 2 more weeks of back to school. Next week is going to be all about setting goals. So if you have trouble, just give us a hand wave in chat. Do you have trouble setting goals? I know I do. And my problem is that I set goals that are unattainable.
I set them, but I don't think I followed through.
Yes.
So we're all going to learn something. You know what was so cool? I loved when Victor was talking. I heard of a great quote the other day, and it said about school, and it said something about, it's not about the grades you make, it's the hands you shake. Have you ever heard that one?
Ooh, I love that.
Oh, dang. I heard that. I was like, it's exactly, that sums it up. It's so very much like what he was saying. It's you got to look for those extra things outside of what you get from any learning situation. It's like, what is it sparking in you? What is it changing in you? I think there's no two ways to go, no one way to go through this education or any kind of a class situation or learning.
Yeah, that's great advice. Fantastic.
I know. That's got to be a t-shirt.
Nick's put on a t-shirt. All right, here's your actual homework. Well, here's your other homework. Let's say it that way.
Yes.
And that is to brainstorm goals for our episode and discussion next week. We'll be showing you how to create goals, define goals, and achieve those goals to set yourself up for success next week. So make sure that you have a list as you come in. If you want to, you can post that list in Discord. That will actually be really helpful for Nick and I to see what goals you have, because we're planning content for the rest of the year and probably into next year as well. But we want to help you with your goals and knowing what our viewers want to know. Go go ahead. Let us know in Discord. Put them in Discord. Next week, we will be talking about those in your homework. I'm just going to give you a preview. Your homework next week will be to make a plan to achieve your goals. It'll be to define and make a plan to achieve your goals. So if you're watching this on YouTube, join the Discord and put it in there. But next week, be ready to paste your goals down in the comments or in our Discord. It's going to be a great episode. I think it'll be good for both of us. Nick, do you have any goals right now? Let's ask that question.
I never stopped at that. I think there's so many things. I've had a lot of time in the last few weeks staying at home, recuperating. Oh my God. The goals I have, I'm scared.
That's awesome. My goals currently, and I think this is acceptable. We'll talk about this more next week. My goal right now is to survive. I have a lot going on. And so my goal in life right now is just like to get through it, just to maintain. And I think that's okay sometimes. So we'll talk about that next week. You don't necessarily have to be aspirational all the time. Sometimes
a goal could be cutting back.
Yes, exactly. All right. So thank you for joining us, everybody. Nick, I'll give you the outro. What advice do we have to our friends that are going back to school?
Oh, gosh, what's the best thing to say? Just give it your best. Ask questions, talk to others, find out how you can do more. This isn't everything. Life starts after that kind of world, particularly, and this is just the step you're on.
You're going to do great. Gold star. Good job, everybody. See you next week.
The more you know.
The more you know. Okay, Nick, hold on. Can I come this way? And then you catch it. So I'll like, the more you know. No, other way. You go the other way. Continue my hand. Wait, hold on. Wait till my hand. The more you know, and then you pick up, and then you can continue it. So we have one hand. This is my favorite thing we've ever done on stream. All right, bye, everybody.
Bye.